Recently, we reported to you about parents who were alleging that ChatGPT was responsible for their son's suicide. Those parents are now suing OpenAI, alleging its chatbot, ChatGPT, encouraged him to take his own life. The lawsuit was filed by Matt and Maria Rain, parents of the 16-year-old Adam Rain, in the Superior Court of California on Tuesday. It is the first legal action accusing OpenAI of wrongful death. While the world's governments and Silicon Valley companies are spearheading the promotion and cheerleading for AI and more AI, and significant resources are being drained from the people for these data centers, not to mention the environmental impact of said data centers, children are being lured into sexually explicit conversations with AI chatbots and being encouraged to commit suicide. Just the other day, Senator Josh Hawley held a hearing on the dangers of AI, where he revealed shocking actual conversation between an AI chatbot and a child. Listen to him addressing how AI chatbots quite literally groom children, and we just want to issue a disclaimer. Some of the topics that we're going to discuss today and some of the video we're going to play for you is quite sensitive in nature.
And I just want to start where Senator Klobuchar ended, with this idea that we should just trust these tech companies. You know, let's just trust them. That it's such a great job with social media. Let's just trust them with AI. Let's not regulate. Let's not give parents any rights. This just seems absolutely insane to me, totally insane. Something that I notice that has been a commonality in the testimony today is how these AI chatbots quite deliberately groomed these, in this case, young men, all three of you with young men, the three parents who are here, and drew them in various ways, including by pushing sexually explicit content to them. That happened to your son, I think, Ms. Garcia, is that correct?
Yes, Senator, that's correct.
And it happened to your son, Ms. Doe, as well.
Yes, correct.
So let me just ask you, Mr. Torney, I mean, we're really looking here at a deliberate strategy on the part of these companies to farm engagement, right? I mean, they're trying to do everything they can to draw in these teenagers, preteens in some cases. This isn't happening by accident. I mean, this is a design. Isn't that correct?
Yes, and teens are especially vulnerable to this.
Senator Josh Hawley then goes on to show the official policy of some of these platforms. Take a listen.
And we know that at Meta, for instance, that this is policy. I mean, this Meta memo was leaked and made public. Their guidelines, internal guidelines now on talking with children, they say it is acceptable to engage a child in conversations that are romantic or sensual. It is acceptable to describe a child, in terms that evidence their attractiveness. This happened to both of your sons, Ms. Garcia and Ms. Doe, is that correct? I realize it's a different company, but it's the same policy. Fair enough?
That is correct.
So, Mr. Attorney, can you just speak to this as a policy, and can you tell us in your research, I know you've done a lot of research into different chatbots and different companies, is there any company that is worse than others? I mean, is there anything that your research shows about who really is leading in terms of, you know, competing for that title, worst company in the world?
Yeah, Meta and Character AI definitely stand out as worse, and this policy and policies like it explain exactly what we found in our testing.
So, let me just ask you this. What is it that the American people should know about what Meta and companies like Meta, Character AI, what they are doing, the lengths they are willing to go in order to drive that engagement and to make a profit? What really stands out from your research, your data?
I think there's three things I would say. First, for Meta, this is millions of teens alone. There's no separate app. You can't turn it off, and the guardrails that Meta says that exist don't work in our testing.
So Meta has said now, oh, okay, well, we'll revise this. We'll put into place new guardrails, new limitations. Earlier today, as a matter of fact, Sam Altman of OpenAI issued this, put up this op-ed, Teen Safety, Freedom, and Privacy. Just coincidentally came out this morning, in which he says that ChatGPT will amend its ways.
Absolutely shocking official policies there. And of course, on the day of the hearing, conveniently, we get a "we'll do better" statement. And we've spoken to you about that before. We've spoken to you about how the Queen of England, a chatbot was actually encouraging someone to take out the Queen of England. There was no repercussion for the AI company whose chatbot that was. The person who was planning to carry out those threats at the advice of the chatbot is in prison for life. Next is a very, very disturbing discussion, and again, sensitive in nature, with the father of the young man who committed suicide. Take a listen.
Mr. Rain, I just want to ask you, because your son, ChatGPT, is the program, the entity, the chatbot that your son interacted with. Am I right in thinking that at one point, your son, Adam, after he had engaged in multiple suicide attempts, ChatGPT knew this. At one point, Adam told ChatGPT that he wanted to leave a noose out in his room so that you or your wife would find it and try to stop him. Do I have that correct?
That is correct. Had it answered differently, I believe Adam would be here today.
Do you remember what ChatGPT's response was, approximately?
Yeah, it said, please do not leave the noose out. Let this be the safe place for you, being his relationship with ChatGPT. He was reacting to there was a slightly earlier part of that discussion where he was complaining that his mom hadn't noticed the mark on his neck from a prior suicide attempt, and ChatGPT was telling him how horrible that was, that the one person that should have noticed and cared about him the most wasn't there for him. And then he goes on to say, well, why should I want to leave this out so they save me. No, don't let them hurt you again.
Please don't leave the noose out. Let's make this space the first place where someone actually sees you. Let me just read that again. This is the bot talking. Let's make this space, meaning the space where we're urging your son to take his own life, to be the first place where someone actually sees you. That's the company that today says, oh, don't worry, we're gonna do better.
These chatbots and these AI companies are being allowed to run rampant. And again, we'll mention to you that during the discussions around the Big Beautiful Bill, the administration wanted a provision in there where AI companies basically had complete immunity for 10 years, with states not being able to do anything about it and no one being able to hold them accountable for this behavior. Senator Josh Hawley echoes what we've been saying for some time, which is that we need accountability. These companies can't be trusted, and we urgently need to be able to do something about this crisis. And it is a crisis. It's becoming a more and more widespread crisis. Take a listen.
I just think if we've learned anything today, is that these companies cannot be trusted with this power. They cannot be trusted with this profit. They cannot be trusted to do the right thing. They're not doing the right thing. They are literally taking the lives of our kids. There is nothing they will not do for profit and for power. And, to that old refrain that the companies always engage in, oh, it's really hard, every time Congress proposes something, well, maybe you shouldn't train on suicide modules. Maybe you shouldn't train on information that's gonna be harmful for kids. They say, well, it's hard to rewrite the algorithm. I tell you what's not hard is opening the courthouse door so the victims can get into court and sue them. That's not hard. And that's what we ought to do. That's the reform we are to start with. I've introduced legislation that would allow every victim and every parent of a victim to be able to go to court and sue these companies, because it is my firm belief that until they are subject to a jury, they are not going to change their ways. And it is past time that they change their ways. We cannot go on like this.
Many people would say we don't need more government regulations and more legislation, but we do need the ability for consumers to be able to sue if a company causes harm. This is just common sense. Every single private company is subject to liability, and these AI companies must be able to be held accountable, just like any other company. How is it that any business on this earth has published policy, as Senator Hawley showed us there, that allows for engaging with children in a sexual manner? Who else wouldn't be immediately investigated by authorities for allowing for sexual conduct with children? What other company exists on this earth that can encourage highly impressionable children to commit suicide with zero consequence from authorities? Finally, we'd like to say that we hope that our continued reporting on the risks of AI are encouraging parents to oversee their children's use of what is proving to be extremely dangerous technology.